Hello everyone, welcome to the Ranting Shop. Today we're going to be discussing the last episode of Ready to Love Season 8. It's episode 14, it's the reunion part 2. And we left off where Janelle and Tequila were going to go at it again, part 2. However, they never really physically came to blows. They took Tequila off and Unique is there like reapplying her makeup. And my thing about Tequila is, I see a bit of myself in Tequila in that, like, they're so easy to get upset and get riled up by something so simple somebody does. And I feel like she needs to learn to ignore people and just keep it moving, because Janelle only had to say, okay, a feather was dropped, and boom, got Tequila in a tizzy, and people are arguing petty things about who would be able to beat up who. I definitely feel like Janelle would be able to do more damage to Tequila, just because I feel as if she is more in control of herself than Tequila is, simply based on that fact. But that happened, and then they speak on the whole thing with Q, Katerina, Janelle, basically him and the other women and Janelle. And the narrative was that Janelle is always there when the women are trying to get to know Quentin. And Janelle was like, that's really not the case. Quentin is a grown man and he can make his own decisions. What I will say about that whole situation with Lee, Katerina, Quentin, and all these people is simply that I feel like two things can be true at the same time. I feel as if, really and truly, we all saw it. His strongest connection was very much Janelle. As much as we wanted it to be Lee, as much as we felt like Lee and Quentin made a better looking couple and had more in common, the truth of the matter is, what we think works doesn't necessarily mean what works, and what he felt worked was him and Janelle. And I think as a result of that, he decided, and out of respect for Janelle, he decided, okay, let me not rock the boat and talk to other women. And I don't know if it had to do with Janelle being intimidating. It could possibly be the case, because I see with Janelle that she's the type of person where if you're not actively writing for her, or if you're not actively like showing respect, or if you're not actively in her corner, she thinks that it's otherwise. Like she thinks that then you're not in her corner. I really don't feel like, as much as Janelle is like, oh, I wasn't preventing him from speaking to any of you, he's a grown man, I don't feel like she actively prevented him from speaking to the other women, because at the end of the day, Quentin is a grown man. But what I feel like it is that because he knows how easy it is for Janelle to get pissed off and upset about petty things, that's why he decided, let me not even go there, because I know how Janelle is. And so he decided to stick with Janelle. It was just the easiest thing for him to do. And a lot of women don't respect Quentin for doing that. But if they were in a situation where they were the Janelle, I'm pretty sure they'd appreciate him more for doing that. It's easy to be mad at Quentin because y'all don't like Janelle, and y'all feel like Janelle did not deserve the respect that Quentin, in his mind, was trying to show to Janelle. If it was a situation where y'all loved Janelle, I don't think you guys would have been as bothered with how Quentin decided to maneuver the situation. Let's just call a spade a spade. Between Janelle and Lee, everybody prefers Lee. Everybody thinks Lee is nicer. Everybody feels like Lee and Quentin would have made a better couple. But a lot of the times what it is what we see looks best physically and superficially, because I consider a job, an occupation, something superficial. Like, the core of you is who you are internally. Is the core of you meshing with the core of Quinton? And it didn't, and that's okay. All right, so let's move on quickly from that. Okay, then we had the situation where Janelle and Katerina go back and forth, and Katerina felt like the way Janelle spoke to me, I didn't appreciate it. Yes, we could disagree, that's fine, but there was no need for you to speak to me in that very condescending manner that you speak to people. And yes, I agree with Katerina, the way Janelle spoke to her was out of place, and it was almost as if Janelle was schooling her. But this is not a schooling situation. Everybody has opposing mindsets and opposing views. It's a time for us to be receptive and open, or maybe not open to other people's perspectives, but at least respectful in the way we deliver our disagreements. I agree with Katerina on that behalf. And I know Quinton was trying to come and defend the whole situation, but I don't think it's really defendable. There's nothing he could really say to defend Janelle in that situation, because Katerina is right. The way she said it was rude. I mean, being in a disagreement doesn't mean that it's room for disrespect. Like, somebody could disagree and still be respectful, and at these people's grown ages, I feel like that should be something that they should master at that particular point. So when Quinton opened his mouth and was attempting to try to neutralize or be on Janelle's side, in my mind I'm like, shut the hell up, because you are not making any particular sense, so just be quiet. I can understand somebody wanting to defend their partner, but when the person is wrong, you should be able to speak to that person's wrong and you'll still not have issues. But what I realized with Janelle is she wants you to be on her side, even if other people think what she said or what she did is wrong. She wants you to not think it's wrong. Even though you feel it's wrong, she doesn't want you to tell her that it's wrong. And that's why we saw Quinton like almost go on eggshells when it came to speaking to her about the way she communicated to Katerina. The man didn't know what to say. He had to skirt around the issue several times. And when he asked her, do you think you were wrong? And she says no, then it's like he just felt like, okay, well then let's just let that go. Which I feel like that's not the way to approach a loved one. If you think their delivery was horrible, whether they think it was or not, I think it's critical to give them the outside perspective on how they came across. Maybe they'll be more receptive to receive that from you, right? I don't think it's anything to do with the way Janelle's presence in the room and it just intimidates people. I don't think it's any of that. I just feel like it's just the way you speak to people. There's a way you speak to people. There's a way you approach people, and she just is not really receptive to doing that. I feel like Katerina couldn't wait to come on this reunion just so she could say what she had to say to Janelle and Jessica. It almost seemed like she was on a mission to vocalize all the other women's frustrations with her. Then Marie coming in talking about, oh, I just hate to see two black women. And I was like, shut up. Because I'm tired of this narrative that black women should be policed. Everything black women do, it's almost like, be careful how you do this, be careful how you say that. I'm so sick of it. How about let people be how they want to be, okay? And you do the work of stop labeling them a particular way. I don't think it's their job to fit themselves into the non-stereotype. Because every time they attempt to do that, you guys are gonna still put them in that stereotype. So how about you change your perception of black women and stop holding them to such a high pedestal? Everybody is human at the end of the day, and it's utterly unfair to expect certain things from black women and everybody else gets to be how they are. I just feel like that's too unfair and it's too much of a burden to place on a particular segment of women. Then we have the situation with Chris. Chris comes on the reunion again after they played the clips with him calling Jessica combative multiple times, and this man was still denying it. At this point, I was so sick of him. I didn't know what to do with myself anymore. I was like, you know what? I'm so sick of this discussion and this situation. Let it go. Because if you're not gonna own up to saying it, then what's even the purpose of having this segment? Because a lot of people misconstrued what the issue was with Chris. They were like, okay, we like Chris, we don't like Jessica. Whatever Chris does is fine, and whatever Jessica gets, she deserves. And I was like, absolutely not. That's such a childish way of thinking. At the end of the day, you guys, if Chris had only owned up to what he said, nobody'd be pissed. Nobody'd be upset. They'd be like, okay, that was his experience with Jessica. But for him to keep denying it is what's pissing people off. You know, stop denying it. Own it. You said it. You know? And I think Jessica was trying to defend herself, and then of course Katarina couldn't wait to jump in and be like, oh, you're not gonna tell us what to say and when to say. And I was like, girl, like, at the end of the day, I understand that you have this pent up annoyance with Jessica and Janelle or whatever, but at the end of the day, I don't understand why she had to pipe in on this. This wasn't her business. This wasn't her discussion to, you know, insert herself into. And I feel like another thing with these women, like what I've seen from them, is they're all the same. It's like, I know it wants to appear as if one side is better than the other side, but I don't think that's the situation at all. I think they're all very similar, but what it is that they hide it in different ways. Like, for example, people like Kira and Katarina are really more so Kira, really passive aggressive. So what she'll do is she'll use the men, or she'll use defending the men to get at the women. We saw it when she did it with her baby. You know, and I just feel like that is extremely petty and a bit disgusting for you to hide behind defending a man. Like, for me, it's like, Kira, say what you need to say directly to these women and stop hiding behind these men to get your points across, because you're coming across looking very pathetic. Katarina, to me, did that a bit as well, but she was a bit more outspoken. She was like, okay, I think you guys are doing this and I don't like it. And in my mind, I feel like she was really like, it took a lot of heart for her to come do this, because I know a lot of women, like, they say these things about Jessica and Janelle, but they're very intimidated to come and tell them that directly, and Katarina did it. But I just feel like Katarina was doing a lot that was like a little bit unnecessary. And of course, Tequila is in the back cheering whoever this is Jessica and Janelle on. Like, girl, shut up. What irritated me is, at the end of the day, like, when I guess Katarina got upset, she doubled down on calling Jessica combative. And I specifically asked Katarina, she did a poll a long time ago, and I specifically asked her, was Jessica combative with you personally? Did you have that experience with her? She said, oh, she's not one of the men, it's the men. Then when the men say it wasn't them, then we're coming to find out a couple weeks later on the reunion, you opening your mouth and saying she is combative. So it's like, what I don't like is the hiding the hands types of thing. Like, if you think the woman is combative, you stand on it too. I don't get why they say stuff and then they hide until you catch them saying it. It's so crazy. Katarina is like, oh, that was the men's experience with Jessica, and then here you are at the reunion a couple weeks later opening your lips to call the woman combative because you're upset because of whatever she said. You know, I mean, girl. Anyways, let's move completely on. In that situation, Katarina was combative. She was. She was. And if I'm Jessica, that's what I don't get with people. If somebody is, in my opinion, assassinating my character and calling me something that I don't think I am, if I'm only defending myself and I'm considered combative, oh well. But to say that I just come into a situation ready to argue with somebody, I don't believe that to be true. Katarina was being combative in that situation, but guess what's not gonna happen? Nobody's gonna call Katarina combative. But they're gonna still call Jessica combative, which is just crazy to me, and it shows off the favoritism. Just say y'all don't like Jessica. And then the situation with Aries and Phil. I think what it boiled down to is the fact that Aries doesn't want a man that is just dabbling in all different kinds of ventures that could fail or be successful. It's like she doesn't, it's too risky. I feel like what Aries is essentially saying is Phil's career situation is too volatile for her, and she doesn't want to really be a part of that roller coaster. It is that simple. It's that simple. It's not to say that he's not successful. It's not to say that he's broke. It's not to say any of these things. It's simply to say that the way he maneuvers his career and whatever the case may be, it's too volatile for Aries. She wants someone more settled, someone that has determined that this is what they want to do, and they've been doing it for years, and they're very stable in their career. That's what she wants, and that's what Phil doesn't give her. It's that simple. What I will say is, Phil did the interview with Crystal X, and he was basically explaining that it's just that he's tried many ventures, and some of it has failed due to the economy, and he does have a stable income or whatever he said, but the situation is he also wanted the opportunity to do what he loved, and he loved stand-up comedy, and that's what he wanted to get into, and Aries was just not into that, and that's fine. But for people to shame Aries and say she has 2 kids, 2 divorces, 2 different men, like her standard should be really low because no rich man is gonna be interested in her, I don't think that's true. And I hate that women perpetuate these male misogynistic talking points, because it's not based necessarily in reality. It's based in fear, it's based in shaming women, it's based in wanting to punish women for having standards. It's not based in reality. So they're talking about the whole situation with this girl Kira, and questioning her blackness, and Mario was essentially saying, well, I don't like the way that they're using the term as if people could be more black than other people. I don't like that definition. I don't like that visual. I don't like the perception that somebody could be blacker than somebody else, but that's what Mario was giving me. I'm the blackest of the black. I do Black Lives Matter. I'm in the trenches. I feed the hungry. I do protest. I fight against the man. More people, more power, whatever. Malcolm X, Martin Luther King, that type of thing. I feel like people that are entrenched in community things like that think that they're blacker than people like Kira, who act a particular way or say a particular thing. Now, I'm not defending Kira or anything. I just don't like the degrees of blackness that was formulated around that topic. Like, are there degrees of blackness? Can somebody be blacker than somebody else? I don't know. At the end of the day, everybody has the same skin tone, and everybody suffers the same discrimination. So, yeah, somebody might very well try to distinguish themselves from the stereotypical, what is stereotypically black in America, but it doesn't get them very far, because at the end of the day, the skin color is not gonna let them get away from who they are. You know what I'm saying? So either way it goes, that was just not making any sense to me. It's like Kira was saying, oh, they're so critical of me when I say certain things, but when they say it, they were not punished, but they were not like called out for what they said. What I will say is, at the end of the day, people were annoyed with Kira because they felt like she relished in her proximity to whiteness, and they were like, since when has that become an accomplishment? Being the, and she kind of used it as like a, I don't know, as an attribute for herself. Like, I'm the whitest person here. You know, granted, she was saying it as a joke, but I really and truly feel that she felt that way. You know, and it rubbed people the wrong way because it's like, what's the problem with being black, like the blackest protester in history? I don't know. It's weird. But there was that, and Mario was saying, essentially what he's trying to say is, my issue is not the way you are, my issue is just that the way you are doesn't mix with the way I am, which is fine, and that should have just been left there. Yeah, like, just say you guys are not compatible and let that be. But the degrees of blackness that was being placed on it, like Morier is like, I'm the blackest of the black, and Kira like saying, I'm black too, it's just that I don't present in the stereotypically black way. Why is that a problem anyways? And then there's a situation with Quinton, her saying Quinton likes white women, or Quinton seems like he likes white women. He took offense to it. I feel like whatever, like, she apologized. She just said it came across to him that he didn't like black women. Something about him, I don't know what it was. Maybe the fact that she felt like he wasn't interested in none of the darker skinned women, but he was interested in the lighter women. I don't know. But Lee piped up to say that can't be the case because he's interested in me. So I don't know. But I do agree with Quinton's point that you're upset that people are putting you in a box, but you put me in a box. End of discussion, end of story. Let's move on. So the Lee situation with Quinton, she posted something to her social media. I think she deleted it at this point, where she was trying to clarify that he very much did say that he was uncomfortable, but I don't think he said he was uncomfortable because of Janelle. He never clarified why he was uncomfortable, but I think it alluded, or the allusion was that it was because of Janelle, but I don't think it's something he said, you know. But either way it goes, he said that it wasn't because of Janelle. It's just that it was tricky for him to maneuver between two women on the show. He didn't want to seem sleazy. He didn't want to seem like he's there talking to one moment and then he's over there the other one the next moment. I think that what Lee was trying to say is, for with Janelle, it was always this one-up thing that she was doing. So if like Quinton does something for Lee, she's gonna pipe up and say, oh, but Quinton did that for me too. And if Quinton says something to Lee, it's like, he said something to me too. It's like there was always this competition that was there, and Janelle is refusing to acknowledge it. And I feel like at that point Lee was just, what's even the point in going back and forth with somebody that is not aware of their actions and are just gonna always rebut everything you say. So in the end, Janelle and Quinton said that what happened was, they have, the romance is there, but they have issues integrating their daily lives with each other. And Quinton said something of, if we do get together, we're heading to marriage. I don't know what that means. I don't know if they're still dating, they're still unsure of how to move forward. I don't know. But I hope he knows that with Janelle, He's not gonna get the 3 children he wants. But anyways, good luck to them. I think that they're really actively dating now? I don't think so. For some reason, I don't think that they are. I'm not convinced. I haven't seen any photos, videos, nothing that makes me believe that they're dating or they have something. I feel like what they had was for the show, and then out of the show they noticed it wasn't working or it didn't work, and so they're probably at a pause right now. But they like each other still. It's not that they don't like each other, it's just that it's not working out in real life, period. Anyways, it came to an end. I think Red was joking, talking about DJing their reception. He is taking them for a fool. He's like, you guys not fooling me. I want to DJ because I don't believe in your connection. And the way they were trying to play it off was funny. Now, I did say that I'd address quickly Janelle's live when she's like, the only people I consider my friends, I think she mentioned Herbert, Sierra, and somebody else, but she didn't mention Jessica. I think it's clear to come to the conclusion that Jessica and Janelle are no longer friends, because Janelle feels as if Jessica wasn't defending her, but then she was defending Janelle. You know, she was defending Jessica. You know, she feels like this one-sided type of friendship where she's riding for you, so why aren't you riding for me? And so she's like, I'm not doing this. I'm not defending anybody anymore. I'm not speaking up for anybody anymore because they're not doing that for me. So it's sad, but I don't think that they're friends anymore. But as I said before, like, you can't expect you from other people. Just because you're a fierce protector and defender doesn't mean that other people show their love for their friends or their loved ones in that way. Sometimes the way people show it is by being silent and not speaking ill of you, or the way they say it is by introducing your perspective to it and saying, oh, she said that because of ABC, so I completely understood. To be honest, I don't know what Jessica really said that was so horrible that Janelle felt like, oh, you're all doing interviews and not defending me. I mean, she didn't say anything bad about you. She simply gave a perspective where it was like, yes, I spoke to Janelle. Yes, not everything Janelle does I agree with, which is to me more adult than anything else. But it seems like Janelle wants more like a ride or die who's gonna defend her no matter what she does. Like from calling somebody B, calling somebody's bag fake, to physically harming somebody. Like, she wants the person to defend her at all times. Janelle never takes accountability for anything. How could you grow and you don't take accountability for anything? But anyways, that was my review for this reunion. Let me know what you guys thought about this entire season. No connections. Well, one successful connection. And you know what? I feel like the reason why people were not satisfied with this season or this reunion is because people felt like the mean girls are not supposed to end up with the fairy tale. The mean girls are supposed to end up lonely and miserable. So why is it that on this show, the mean girls end up being the ones that make it to the end with love interest, whereas the nice girls ended up thrown to the wayside and eliminated? I feel like the viewers did not get the satisfaction of a nicely read and written storyline. Every time we watch TV, what happens to the bad guy? They suffer a terrible fate. What happens to the good guy? They ended up getting the girl. They ended up winning the money. They end up living the perfect life while the mean person is miserable. But that's not realistic, you guys. That is not realistic. The mean girl that y'all think don't deserve everything oftentimes get the world. And the girl that y'all think deserve everything get nothing. It's life. Things don't follow this linear pattern of, okay, all good things go to the good person. That doesn't always happen that way. Not because somebody's doing great things and, oh, she prayed every day, she followed the rules. That does not, there's no reward for being a good person on this earth. The reward is simply in being a good person. There's no reward for it. The reward is being it. And I feel like sometimes it's not enough for some people. They need a reward, or somebody has to get a reward. That's not how life works. But anyways, you guys, let me know what you thought about this reunion. Like, subscribe. See you guys next time. I'm gonna talk about Love is Blind next, so stay tuned for that. See you guys later. Bye.